This is Plaza de España. The overwhelming Plaza de España is the most famous square in Seville. Several buildings were designed for the 1929 Expo around the Maria Luisa Park. The square was designed in Spanish Renaissance style with a diameter of 200 meters. Spain's goal with the exhibition was to make symbolic peace with its former American colonies. The semicircle shape of Plaza de España symbolizes Spain's embrace of its former colonies and its own future. There are two tall towers on the flanks of the square. Lots of ceramic works. There's a canal surrounding the square, symbolizing the ocean connecting Spain to the Americas. And the plaza is decorated with over 7,000 colorful ceramic tiles, depicting historical events, provinces of Spain, and scenes from Spanish literature and mythology. There are 52 benches and mosaics of tiles located at the foot of the buildings, which now serve primarily as government offices. The 52 frescoes depict all 52 Spanish provinces. The tiles are typical of Andalusia, Spain, the so-called azulejos. Porcelain bridge. Spanish tourists would typically pose for photos in front of their own province, just like American tourists do in Washington, D.C. This plaza can be seen in movies like Star Wars and Lawrence of Arabia. And this is the Maria Luisa Park. A pond in the Spanish park in Seville is full of birds. Ducks. Some of the birds are very little. Baby ducklings, I assume. Statue of Christopher Columbus in Seville, Spain, with Isabel, the Queen of Spain, carved in the middle of the boat. A little dark, but it says Christopher column on the top. And the other side, on the body of the sailboat, says Fernando, the king of Spain at the time. So it's Isabel on one side and Fernando on the other. And on the very top, Seville is the final resting place of Christopher Columbus, where his remains are kept within the majestic Seville Cathedral. His ornate tomb features 4 large allegorical figures carrying his coffin, representing the 4 kingdoms of Spain: Castile, Leon, Aragon, and Navarre. Seville Cathedral, looking from the outside. The official name of the cathedral is the Cathedral of St. Mary of the Sea. It is the largest Gothic cathedral in the world. The total height of the Giralda Tower is 104 meters. The cathedral was built on the site where Moorish mosque once stood. This mosque was taken from the Moors in 1248 and was then used as a cathedral. Later, the mosque was destroyed except for the Orange Court and Giralda Tower, which is the bell tower we see today. Construction of the cathedral began in 1403 and was finally completed 100 years later in 1507. Later on, we'll climb the bell tower and take a bird's eye view of the whole city of Seville. We're now at the top of the bell tower, after climbing 500 steps also, and this is what we see. It's a beautiful view. The cathedral was mostly rebuilt, completely rebuilt, except this orange tree yard and the bell tower, which were original, which were part of the original mosque. Inside the Seville Cathedral. It's massive. It's the largest Gothic cathedral in Europe. When visiting the cathedral, there are a few things that you should see. Tomb of Christopher Columbus, which we saw earlier. His exploration efforts led to the unprecedented expansion of Spanish territory and contributed substantially to the rise and prosperity of Spain in the 16th century. As a Spanish hero, Columbus enjoys great respect and popularity, particularly in Seville. The royal chapel, dedicated to King Ferdinand III of Castile. This king reclaimed Seville from the Moors in 1248. Throughout the cathedral, you can see many paintings by Murillo, Goya, Pedro de Campana, and Luis de Vargas. And finally, the treasure room. Casa de Pilatos. The palace of Casa de Pilatos is located in the district of Santa Cruz in Seville. Built in the 16th century, it's the most beautiful palace in Seville after the Alcazar, of course, and is one of the best preserved buildings from the 16th century. Different styles were combined in the construction of this palace, such as Gothic, Mudéjar, and Italian Renaissance styles. Now we're entering the Praetorium Hall. The Praetorium Hall has copper ceiling, ceramic tiles, and plasterwork. By the way, the tile collection in this palace has 150 different designs, bringing together the largest and most varied tile collection ever existed. And all this appeared in Seville at the beginning of the 16th century. Isn't that amazing? Other attractions in this palace include the Gold Room, the chapel, which is the oldest room in the palace, and Judge's resting room. Another room in Casa de Pilatos with ceramic walls. The entryway is molding now. The sculpture collection on display in the Casa de Piatos was formed in Naples, Italy by the first Duke of Alcazar. It was sent to Seville around 1566 for exhibition in its Seville palace, integrating it with its architecture and garden. It's a unique Renaissance collection preserved in the architectural framework designed for it. It looks like we have a sleeping beauty in a cave or a prison cell, but this used to be a room in the old days. Sleeping beauty inside a cave almost. This used to be a room. Ceramic lined stairways. The garden of the Mudéjar Palace. The Casa de Piatos has a beautifully decorated patio with a well and fountain. As you walk through the arches of the patio, you will see 24 busts of Roman emperors and Greek gods. In addition, the palace has many marble columns and floors, long corridors, ceiling paintings, large wooden doors, mudéjar tiles, chapels, and especially a beautiful and colorful palace garden in Italian style. Nowadays, this palace is still partially inhabited and is the residence of the 18th Duchess of Medinaceli and her family. Another garden inside the Casa de Pilatos. Seville Alcazar. It's the front yard. The Royal Alcazar of Seville is a historic royal palace and one of the official residences of the Spanish royal family. It was formerly the site of an Islamic era citadel, which was begun in the 10th century under the Umayyads, and then developed into a larger palace complex in the 11th and 12th century. After the Castilian conquest of the city in 1248, the site was progressively rebuilt and replaced by new palaces and gardens. Among the most important of these is a richly decorated Mudéjar-style palace built by Pedro I during the 1360s. The palace is a preeminent example of Mudéjar style in the Iberian Peninsula, and also includes sections with Gothic and Renaissance elements. The upper stories of the Alcazar are still occupied by the royal family when they visit Seville. In the 1360s, much of the complex was rebuilt by Pedro I in a decorative mudéjar style. The palace includes a monumental facade, a courtyard, and the great domed hall known as the Hall of the Ambassadors. The architecture of Pedro I's palace has strong similarity to the contemporary Nazareth palaces of the Alhambra in Granada. Although the complicated chronology of construction and renovation of both sites makes it difficult to determine what roles they might have played in influencing each other's designs. It's likely that the Muhammad V, the Nasrid ruler of Granada and Pedro I's ally, sent craftsmen to Seville to help assist in the palace construction and decoration. Under the Catholic monarchs Isabella and Fernando, the upper floor of the palace was extended and transformed into their main residence.
Tapestry room. This is a map of Europe, woven into a tapestry.
Maybe we have an idea about which would be the name of this room. Tapestry rooms. Yes? I guess you every time I told you that. But the tapestry in that case, these tapestries are a national word that replaces Misha. Between the Christian Empire of the 5th and the Ottoman Empire.
Another tapestry room.
The Gothic-style palace was built on site in Grau 58 by Alfonso X.
Inside the chapel of the Gothic. Queen Isabel II. Ceramic tiles. Peacock inside the Alcazar. Come on.
Ouais.
Ça fait un lien, t'es d'accord?
Je me fais une copie. Oh, je peux faire une photo. Je m'envoie direct.
Walls and the garden inside the out. The other side of the garden wall.
Vieni con me, vieni a vedere che ti faccio vedere un passaggio segreto. Vieni.
Garden view from the second floor. Intricate pattern. It's like a maze, or several mazes. Feria de Abril.
Spring in Seville has a special atmosphere, as the city's two most important events take place annually. First, Semana Santa, and then the April Fair, about 2 weeks after Easter. This is a week of serious dancing, drinking, eating, and socializing, with late nights or all-nighters the norm. Seville society parades around the fairground in carriages or on horseback, dressed up nicely in suits and special attire. There are also daily bullfights, generally considered the best of the season. Then the eating, drinking, dancing continues into the small hours.
The view of the river crossing Seville. This is a better view.
This is the Guadalquivir River in Seville. About 400 miles long, it's the only major navigable river in Spain and Spain's lifeline to the New World. In the 16th century, it made Seville the mercantile center of the Western world, as galleons carrying gold and silver sailed directly into the city's port. It was also from this river that Ferdinand Magellan set sail in 1519 on the first successful circumnavigation of the Earth. Before we sailed away from Seville, I want to show you one last thing on the river, and that's Torre de Oro, or Tower of the Gold. It's coming up right here. Adios, and see you in Portugal next.